Well, hello there, and welcome to our live hang number 19. This is your buddy Dave over at MarsX3D, and have a bunch of stuff. Been working like a dog all day long, and actually didn't even get finished up until the time I said hello. So I don't have all the things that I want to show you tonight, but I do have a bunch of stuff. You'll recall last week that we called it ripping the curtain back using Alan Walker's new process, which I call Walker's exposure disclosure process. And I didn't have the images really done to my liking. They hadn't been composited. I hadn't done all the fine tuning on the various planes in the 3D data. So I have accomplished that in the interim, and I'll share some of those tonight, because primarily what I found were 6 different settlements and bunches of odd stuff as well. And plus we got a couple of things from Rami Bar-Ilan tonight. He's always a wonderful anomalist. And even an offering from Lanyi Gabor. So hang on, and we're going to get started in just a minute. And let me just see who all's here. If I can, oh look, Granny is here. Hey, 43 Pigtail. Alan's in the house. And John Beck, who can't stick around. You know, those parole officers are really a problem, aren't they? And, oh golly, who else we got? Masimasa Kalfane. Well, I hope I didn't butcher your name too bad, my friend. Thanks for showing up tonight. And Don made it. How you doing, man? It's good to see you tonight. And even Ramona made it. Hey, glad to see you back. We missed you too, Ramona, and we're glad to have you. So anyway, it's been a crazy busy week. I'm still running between here in the Sunrise Command, moving a glass studio, running to Cape Cod tomorrow again to pick up some more equipment, and go back up to Maine on the weekend, and all this other stuff going on. I've never been so busy. Planetary Protector, welcome aboard. I am so glad to see all you proud weirdos out there. You know who you are. And Gentry's in tonight too. Hello, Gentry. Welcome aboard. Ricardo made it. And remember, Ricardo, it's all about the food. Yeah. And Raymond Glassford went in, my favorite engineer. His security from NASA Obfuscation Control Center is hot on my tail, though. Well, they'll have some things to gripe about tonight. Really, I can't say enough about Alan Walker and the process that he's developed. Now, I didn't have time to put his examples in there. They will be in the video this week, along with other examples of some of the finds. We're not going to look at all of them tonight, but we are going to look at the ones that I was able to clean up and clarify and mark some things for you to see. So that was important to me. And golly, let's see what else. The thing is, and I want to make this real clear, okay? Some people, I can already hear them. They're going to say, well, that's a fake process. It's just, you're just turning it black and white and turning up the pixelation, and you're doing this and you're doing that. Well, here's a flash. You cannot create non-fractal images from chaotically arranged pixels. Non-fractal images, regardless of what format they're in, are always the product of intelligent agency. And so Alan was kind enough to send me a photograph of some swans, and then the same photograph with his process applied. I apologize again, I don't have them ready for right now, but I will have them in the video. But you can plainly see that nothing has changed when you see the video. And the same with an image I think it was Raymond sent me. uh, of a scenic shot in Arizona, saguaro cactus, desert scene, scarps and buttes. And same thing. Alan ran the process on that, and all it does is it just makes it more clear in black and white. The important thing, again, is that Alan has figured out, he's back engineered what NASA is doing in terms of layering, rockifying, luminance layers, which have to do with light, color, and opacity. And as a 30-plus year professional in Photoshop, he spent a great deal of time back engineering this process, and he hit pay dirt. So this is very exciting, and I have no doubt in the days ahead, if he cares to share any more of his pans with me, I'm going to dig through them, and I'm going to find everything that I can to share with you. Now, part of the problem with this is that they're not making stereo images with Percy Z cams. It's a color 4K stereo camera, but they're very carefully not taking stereo images. Right image, left image, but without the two together, there's no range data. There's no metric involved, no metrics at all for the images, so that you can tell how far away something is, how large it is, yada yada. I think they're doing it on purpose, and get a little tired of all this managed agenda, but hey, that's the clown circus we live in nowadays, isn't it? Let me catch up on your remarks. And Martin Wolfried made it. Hey, Martin, how are you? And thank you, Don. He said he was grabbing some images there. And one of the reasons I was very reticent to put those images up last week was not only were they not finished, I wasn't ready to sign my name to them, if you're familiar with my almost invisible watermark. But without my composite graphics on them, they're very easy to steal. And someone else can say, hey, look what I did. Look what I found. I know how to do 3D processing. And they may well know how to do that, and more power to them. Everybody's welcome to the, this is public domain stuff. It doesn't become my intellectual property until I've done the 3D rendering and applied my composites to it, the data bar, copyright, watermark, things of that nature. Then it becomes intellectual property, and if you take it, I'm afraid I'm going to have to send Luca after you. Yes, he's still my friend. For some of you who know, I worked a long time right on skirting the edges of organized crime. Never wanted anything to do with it. Never, never, never. I worked at one club just before we dive into the images. In my early career in Boston, I worked in a Dixie club called Katie's, which is down there on Commonwealth. It's not there anymore. That was a mafia club. And I was glad to work there, glad to have the money. Had a good little band. We'd play for the people. But they had a couple of really big old thugs at the door, stage door, as it were, when you bring our equipment in. And they'd take us aside and they'd say, fellas, if we catch you smoking pot on the premises, we're going to take you back here and beat the hell out of you and break your thumbs so that you never make that mistake again. Are we clear? Well, that was pretty clear. I understood that. And I wasn't smoking pot then anyway. I was just a baby. And in fact, stayed away from it a long time. I just, well, we're not going to go into that, are we? Anyway, oh, yeah. Well, thank you very much, Masinisa. Man, I sure hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and dive into some of Alan's work. And for the most part, I'm going to be showing you the stripped away images. I'm not going to be showing you the context images, except in one or two, just to get you oriented. But these are images of various settlements that I found. And here is settlement 1. Have you got your X3D chops on? I hope so. And I'm going to go down there and make sure I've got everything the way it's supposed to be. Now, you'll notice this. I'm hoping that you're looking at this on a fairly good-sized monitor. But the first thing I noticed, well, among the first things I noticed were these roads. Now, you tell me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or so roads arrange themselves not only to be dead straight and parallel and the same width. Those really do look like roads or pathways to me. Okay, Massamisa, I'll call you Mass. And that's where I live, my friend. I live in the People's Republic of Mass. Okay, now, if you've been looking at this for a minute, I'm going to highlight the structures. See all those buildings? All those walls? That's amazing to me. And so what we're going to do, if you notice on the right side, that very first squarish building, we're going to move in on that a little bit. And look at that. That is a big square building. Now, if you're having trouble seeing that, I'm going to outline the edges of it for you real quick. See? See what I mean? Here it comes back. That is a perfectly rectangular building with hemispheres on the side, what looks like a dome on top. Look to the right of it. You'll see what looks like tents, or what I call a machine shed. And you'll notice structures all around it. That, to me, says intelligent agency. Okay, now I'm going to swing back to the left and behind here and take a moment to look at this, because it's the same thing. You see pathways and walls, and depending on how big your monitor is, you can see little buildings all through there. Now I'm going to highlight the paths and the walls for you, just so you can see them good. And coming back, and there are a couple other things in here. Did you notice over there inside the box? Did you notice that structure? Now, how does this come about? With random pixels. And now we're going to get real close, and it's going to get blurry. Now, you tell me, that is a bridge or an aqueduct with a perfect arch? I mean, come on, folks. This is real, okay? This is real. And it just amazes me that there's one particular site on Facebook, I won't say what it is, but I get the worst trolls there. and they berate me continually for putting up blurry pictures and just rocks and all that stuff. Well, I mostly just block them. If they're not interested, neither am I. Go away. But yeah, and it's true, isn't it, Don? That bridge is off the ground. It's literally off the ground. And so we're going to head back, and I'm going to show you a context view. This is my second image of Hillside Oddities. And you can kind of see it if you look inside that green box. Good point, Don. All the structures seem to be about the same height. Unusual for an erosion process to do that, isn't it? And you can kind of see it. I increased the contrast on this image. And this is Alan Walker's original image. All of these are his original images. I just did the finding of the anomalies and the post-processing and ferreted out the 3D data from them, which has kept me busy for 2 weeks, trust me. But you can kind of see him inside that box. But now, let's take away the cover, and you can see that even a little bit better. What the heck? What the heck is that? We're going to zoom in. Anybody got any ideas? Because I sure don't know. I truly don't know. And I'm trying out some new equipment tonight. I'm back to the Logitech webcam, which I trust, and which seems to have a clear image. But I have a new backdrop and new lighting, and as you can see, there's a little bit of green in my hair. I didn't have time to balance that out before the hang, so I hope you'll forgive me for celebrating St. Paddy's Day a little bit early this year. You know, back in the day, I used to play at a place called Church Street Station, downtown Orlando, and there was a incredible club called Rosie O'Grady's Good Time Emporium, and I played in the show band there. And man, it was a wild place. We'd hold our fire department count was 1,500. We often put 2,500 in there, especially when the Brazilians would come. But man, oh man, on St. Paddy's Day, they'd get about 20 kegs of beer that's been dyed green, and they had nickel beer on St. Paddy's evening. And man, oh man, we packed the place out. I mean, it was insane. Everyone drinking green beer. The bathrooms are green. The floors were green from people not holding their beer right, either in their hand or otherwise. And at the end of the evening, the whole place had this kind of disgusting green pallor to it, and it was really, really sticky. The cleanup crew hated it, and they had to come through and clean all that stuff, wash it all off, and it was a big, big job. So, let me get back to another one. We're going to look at another settlement that I found. And this one again, I'm going to use a context view from Alan. Alan does a wonderful job of processing. The only thing I do is I bump up the contrast a bit, bump up the saturation a bit, because this isn't about just showing you flat data. This is about a 3D image, and that has to have some eye candy appeal, right? It needs to look good. It needs to pop. Don, yeah. Oh, let me tell you. Anyway, look at that area inside of the green box. Oh, good. Thank you, Raymond. He says the video and audio are good here. You look like a young George Clooney on my monitor. Oh, golly. Ladies, eat your heart out. Right. You know, I played his mother's show many a time, Rosemary Clooney. Anyway. Okay, you ready for the strip away here? Thanks to Alan Walker. Watch this. Look at that. Now, to me, that's just amazing. I mean, look at the, besides the obviously rectangular building or walls, look at the curved amphitheater almost to the left and the other structures all around. This is an amazing thing. And this, again, is not the revelation of random pixels or a spurious process that some goon in his back room has figured out to trick people. This is the real deal, folks. And Alan Walker is the one who figured it out. So again, kudos to Alan Walker at Mars, the second Genesis. By the way, if you don't mind leaving a thumbs up, that's the coin of the realm. That's the only way YouTube knows to even put me in the search results, even if it's on the 5th or 6th page. If you type in MarsX3D, the evidence, I don't even show up in the results. But hey, that's the managed agenda for you. Here's another one without the context view, another settlement. They're inside the white box. Well, this is a context view, forgive me. No, it's not. It's a strip view, but it's a long distance view. Look at those perfectly parallel sand dunes, the same width. Not only the wideness of the dunes, but their distance apart. Dead straight and parallel. Isn't that surprising? And now we're going to move in a little bit closer. I had a little bit more sepia tone to it, so we can see it a little better. And so I'm hoping that you're having success with the X3D process. I've been getting a ton of remarks from people that the fusion dots at the top of the images are very helpful. So I'm going to continue to do that, even though it means I kind of fall behind in my schedule. Of course, during the winter months, I'm going to have a lot more time to devote to it. But, you know, I'm at the point where I need a staff. I need a secretary. I need someone who do chase down and shortening of URLs. I need someone to verify images. I need a production manager, lighting, camera. You know, I need all that stuff. But, you know, until the channel is self-supporting, that ain't going to happen. So I got to do it all myself, and that's okay. I can do it. But I am limited into what I can get done each week. It took me a solid 40 plus hours this week to get this stuff ready that you're looking at now, and I'm still not done. Anyway, okay, let's move back to another hillside. Now this is one that's a couple kilometers away. Let's call it maybe 3 kilometers. I need to get those dentures fixed. And you can see, now I bumped up the contrast. And if you look in that square box, you can see that there's some kind of cross there. What is that? And how is it that a natural formation crosses like a T at perfect right angles? I sound like Donald Sutherland. Well, I sure wish I had not only his good looks but his money. I would be a happy fellow. And generally when I'm narrating a video, I get into a really relaxed state before I go on mic, and that's all natural, folks. Nothing added there. But I like it to be a very pleasant and soothing listening experience, especially if you're listening on headphones. Well, that's true, Granny. Thank you, by the way. She says, really great stuff. If those are Martian dwellings, it makes sense to me to remain incognito till you showed us. Yeah, they don't want us to see it, and that's NASA. Now, you ready for the strip away on this one? Look at that. Now, I want you to spend a moment looking at this, and now I'm going to highlight it in color. Okay, now see the red areas? Of course, there are non-fractal areas everywhere, pathways and angles and walls and diggings and revetments. This looks like a strip mine to me. And but notice on the end, closest to us of the red path, how it makes a real quick turnaround and then curves around to make that 200 or 300 foot drop down to the next level. It's exactly what they do in strip mines, just exactly. And give an eye towards the area in the blue. Now I'm gonna take out the highlighting, and you can see there are great big pipes, block buildings with openings, all kinds of stuff that maybe ought not to be there. We're going to go back to the color for just a second. And so you can kind of see the outline of this maybe a little better. And now we're going to go back, see if your eyes can pick everything out now. I understand that many of you are new, not only to anomaly hunting, but particularly to the X3D experience. And very often I imagine some of these images look almost incomprehensible to you. Now, my unfortunate burden is that I've spent the best part of 3 decades, maybe more, doing aerial work, archaeology work, 3D work, that type of thing. And my eyes just naturally zero in on this stuff right now. And so I find that when I highlight it, it does help some people to see it a little bit better. It's not that I'm trying to insult your intelligence, by no means. I'm proud to say I have the hippest group of proud weirdos on the internet. And I brag about you all the time. If you'd seen the interview with Jimmy Roberts that we put up last Friday, I bragged on you in that a little bit too. So you guys are very cool. And I really am working on merchandise. I just don't have time. Like I say, I need a staff. I need someone in marketing. You know, I used to have a staff. I was advertising director at a international magazine called U.S. Aviator, a monthly slick international. And had a beautiful office and a staff, and I could delegate authority all over the place and come up not only with an issue and photographs and product reviews and flight tests and all of that stuff on time, but I had a month to do it in, and we worked 3 months in advance like most publications. But without a staff, I could never have gotten it done. And I'm used to that kind of workload and having deadlines, and I'm trying to be realistic with myself. I'm retired. I don't want to work that hard, okay? But I'm very passionate about this. So I put in a lot of extra hours that maybe I shouldn't. And, hey, Red Line, welcome aboard, my friend. And the big Y in the background, Granny, that's more structures, building, maybe not buildings, but certainly it seemed to me to be a mining operation. Anyway, let's dive into another settlement. Now this one, if I can find my location here. There we go. This one, again, you can see the right angles inside that green box, even in the context view where they've hidden it. But generally speaking, if you were just looking at this, you might not pay attention to it. I would, because I know those right angles ain't natural. Those are walls. I agree with you, Raymond. I'd love to see Alan's processing applied to some of Chris's work too. Chris does a super good job, and he's been at it for a long time. He has his own way of doing things, and certainly don't want to step on any toes. But the important thing, Raymond, is that the picture you sent me and the other pictures that I'll be putting up in the video of the canyon and of the swans that Alan sent me, you have the original, and then you have those that went through the process. And all it does is render them in black and white, really, really clear. It doesn't make any unnatural stuff, if you will. It's a legitimate process. And like I say, if it weren't, you would not have non-fractal anomalies. You simply would not. Okay, you ready to strip away the obfuscation on this one? Let's go. And there's that same green box. And you can kind of see what looked like a multi-leveled apartments almost in the side of the cliff. Now we're going to zoom in, and I'm going to highlight it for you, and it's going to look a little bit strange, but that's so that when I take off the highlighting, your eyes are going to be just right there with it, okay? Now, as you look at this highlighted area, let me pull out, and now look at all the pathways, the walkways, the structures, the windows and doors, the circular items, even the steps in the upper right. Well, it might be steps, I don't know, maybe big. But as you look around this image, you can see much more than what's right there in the center, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah, I have to agree, Don. I think those do look like condos. And being as they're on the side of, I think it's Mount Sharp there, or I'm not sure. I have to get my geography right for Mars and Perseverance. But those things are 3 miles away, 3 kilometers anyway, 2 miles, maybe 3 miles. They're built on the side of a massive hill. And so the view, if they're still occupied, must be magnificent. Must be just staggering. Yeah. Hey, Jersey Jeeper. Good to see you. And okay, let's look at another one. Here's another settlement. This is the 5th settlement that I found in these images. And this one I think is really neat. You can kind of see that pattern inside the white box. But there again, if you're just looking at this picture, unless you're right on top of it at high mag, there's not a whole lot there worth processing. But now, hey Renee, how are you? Thanks for staying up late, my friend. A third of Percy, that's pretty impressive, Alan. Okay, so let's strip it away, courtesy of Alan Walker. Take a look at this. Oh my goodness. There is a ton of stuff in here. A ton. And what we're going to do, we're going to zoom in on that sprocket, that gear sprocket kind of formation, which is huge, by the way. Again, this is several miles away. We're going to zoom in. Okay? And before I start showing you things I've marked, look around a little bit. And yeah, Don, I see a lot of right angles in the sand too when I was looking at that. But without making a complete mishmash of the image, Alan knows what to do. I don't. There's no way that you get sufficient detail to render them. There's a ton of anomalies in this image. Look around a little bit. Kind of get your bearings. And as many of you are already aware, you have to go to Alaska to get your bearings straight. Yeah, I agree. I think these are structures more than monuments. But now I'm going to mark a few things and see if you saw them. Okay? Yeah, I agree. It looks like a roller coaster down. Did you notice that inside the circle? Two big old pipes coming out of that square surface? What's that all about? How about these blocks? These block structures. Those are structures. Those are not blocks. Those are huge, building-sized things on the side of a mountain several miles away. Yeah, sorry, Ricardo. I apologize for the pun. But I've often thought about transferring all my money up to Alaska because I understand they have Fairbanks there. Anyway, now look at this one. Did you see that? Look at all that stuff inside the box. That's crazy. And of course, I pointed this out. And yeah, Jersey, there are a lot of pyramids with square tops on Mars. Bunches and bunches. Yeah. Sorry about the puns. I can't help it. Okay, I pointed this out last week. See what looks like a giant staircase inside the green box? Good night. That is just crazy. We're a long ways from done, though. Did you notice this sucker? Oh, man. What is that? It's huge. Whatever it is. I don't know whether it's an enclosure like a dome, a superdome. Renee, I know it's a lot late night for you, and I really do appreciate you staying up. It's always good to see you, my friend. So that's pretty amazing. Every bit of that. And of course, there's a whole lot more there than I marked. You can go through this image by your own, and you'll find there are 24 anomalies in there. But I don't want to get it, I don't want to mark them all. I don't want to go off in the weeds and spend hours on these things. I want to catch the highlights and then let the rest of you do the searching if you have a mind to. Plus, as you start zooming in, they get really, really grainy. I mean, we're just about at the breakup point here, though we're much closer than we should be. Again, thanks to Alan's disclosure exposure process. So, well, we have all kinds of things going on. I had a chance to sneak away some of Rami Bar-Ilan's images this past week, and I have a couple of those for you. He really is a great anomalist, and he's found some classic finds. He's really got an eye for it, and he's one of the best, in my opinion. And I just wish we were communicating a little better than we do, but that's on him, not on me. I love to talk to him any time of the day or night. And plus, he's a Hebrew man, and I have a lot of respect for those folks. Having been over there on 3 archaeological expeditions, I came to have a real admiration and respect for both the men and women of Israel. You know, they have mandatory military service over there, right out of high school, 4 years, and because every one of them has to be ready at a moment's notice to defend their tiny country. And they're really pretty darned amazing people. Anyway, let's see. I'm going to go down and see if I can't find... Oh, we got one more settlement, don't we? Okay. Let's bring that... Oh, no. Maybe that's not it. You know, the list gets so long that... Okay, here's one. This is one I like. And I showed it to you last week. It wasn't finished. And you know, I really didn't want to do that. I almost never share work that's not complete. That makes me really nervous. I like stuff to be a finished product when you see it. So the 3D is good. All the registry and all the composites are good. You know, that's important to me. But I had to have something. I couldn't just sit there and twiddle my thumbs, although I could have probably told stories for most of the live hang, but that's not what you're here for. Anyway, that's our last little thing that we looked at there. And we're going down to one I shared last week, but the 3D wasn't really very good yet. But I hope what you see inside the green box is the same that I'm seeing. Mainly, to the right side of that box, that road or path takes a sharp right angle turn. I mean, just as sharp as it can be. So let's dive in. And as you look that over, I'm going to lightly highlight that road because that's what I believe it is. These are roads, folk. They're dead straight, arrow straight. And they're the same width throughout. Now, how does that happen? Okay, maybe you can see the very light purple shading I put on the road. So maybe that's just a little bit more visible to you. Okay, and we're going to zoom in. And look at that. That clearly is a tumbled down structure to my eyes, anyway. And absolutely a pathway. Absolutely. And people can mock me if they want. I don't mind. I've got thick skin. I can take it. And so, let's just take a little break and give your eyes a minute or two to relax. As you probably know, I sometimes stay in X3D for many hours at a time. And coincidentally enough, I'm having an operation on my eyes a week from Thursday. It's not from doing X3D. It's not. Believe me, it's not. You're perfectly safe. It's almost like, do you remember, what was it? What was the movie? Was it The Jerk? With Steve Martin? And he invented these glasses that had a little hook on the bridge so you could take them off. But then later on he found out that everybody from looking at the hook had ended up with permanent cross eyes. And there was a huge lawsuit. So I made sure to check that there would be no lawsuits involved with X3D viewing. Okay? Oh. Well, that's a good point, Don. Are you sure it's not just a big retaining wall? Well, anything is possible. Anything is possible. But when I look at the lighting and the shadows in the image, it tells me that this thing is level with the ground. It's not up, at least from the way I see it. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna find that image, and we'll slip back to it. There we go. See how it looks flat, how the lighting is the same as the round flat surface inside that right angle and at the same level? That makes me think that maybe it's same level, that it's a road. And Jersey, no, it's not hard. Ours in X3D is totally not hard. It's as natural to me as my normal 3D vision. I experience absolutely no eye strain, absolutely no discomfort. And if you do it correctly, you won't either. If you're having any kind of eye strain or problems, and Raymond's saying he sees a wall, and that's okay. I accept that. It may be a wall. We don't know, because this thing is at stereo infinity. So I have to correct for the parallax as if I had a Phantom 3D camera 150, 200 yards away from this, and adjust the parallax as if the camera was there. I personally think it's a road, but it could be a wall. And we won't know, will we, until we actually get there. The point is, everybody is right. And Jersey, if you're having a little eye strain, especially with your glasses, try taking off your glasses if that works. Otherwise, just move back from the monitor. Try 6 inches back, a foot back, a little further back. There's a sweet spot in there. You remember when you were a kid hitting baseballs and there was a sweet spot in the bat where it seemed you just barely touched the ball and it exploded off the bat? A home run for sure. Well, there's a sweet spot where the lines of parallax cross. And generally, it's farther from your monitor than closer. So if you're experiencing eye strain, back off a foot. Maybe even further. Depends on how big the image is. And you're going to find that sweet spot with a little experimentation where it's completely effortless. And that is a mistake that most people make. I know is a new technique. But it's very common. They try too hard. You try too hard to cross your eyes. And again, I'm going to give you, Jersey, see? Way easier. That's the secret. Matter of fact, we're going to go to something Lonnie found and posted the other day. What he thinks might be buildings in the distance. And I'm going to give you all the quick talk through that I give for X3D. And it's simply this. As you're looking at the pictures, completely ignore them. Don't look at the pictures. Look at the horizon. Not the horizon in the pictures, the horizon where you are. And then, very gently cross your eyes without looking at the images. Very gently cross your eyes, and you're going to see those two spots, those two fusion dots, sliding together. And when they fuse, just lower your eyes and you're looking through a 3D window. It's just that easy. Don, you're right. It's interesting, isn't it, that even if you're looking at something that isn't X3D or stereographic, that when you look at them, paired images, your mind automatically applies a level of resolution and cognition to the image that a single image doesn't have. It's just a brain thing. It's a mind thing that we do. And yeah, you're right, Ricardo. 18 inches. Right now, I've got an iMac 27, and of course, I'm looking at the images much smaller in OBS. But when I look at them full screen, I'll sit 2, sometimes 3 feet back, like when I proof my videos, make sure everything worked out. And yeah, Jersey, those dots. I'm getting so much feedback. People saying, "Man, that's so helpful." Anyway, I'm yammering on and on and on. Look inside that aquamarine box, and you can see the kind of squarish looking building in there, or things sticking out from the cliff. Let's move in. Look at that. Isn't that cool? What is that? Is that natural? Is that a building, or is that a cliff? Well, it sure is square. It sure looks like it has windows or openings on it, and also to the right. But yeah, Jersey, it works fine on an iPad, but a big monitor is nice. Or if you can cast your screen up onto your TV or something like that, it's really pretty cool because you can see stuff like crazy. And I understand that when I'm looking at these images on a 27-inch monitor, while I'm working on this stuff, I'm seeing things that most of you probably won't see, not because you can't, but because the images you're looking at are much smaller. And it does look like a building made of metal, doesn't it? Because of the shine. Now, this is a pan can from Oppie, and it would be interesting to see if Alan's process would reveal anything here. They seem to be pretty straight with opportunity and spirit. I mean, in terms of the heavy-duty obfuscation, it wasn't until Curiosity that they really went bananas with it. So, you think this is inverted, Alan? Now, look inside this box as you're looking at this. Look at those structures there, too. And that, particularly the darker sand, is almost like, it's a perfect rectangle with a rectangle inside of it. Some kind of slot. Some kind of, I don't know, crazy thing. Let me go back to let me pull the box out of there. And so you can see that it's just odd, but it's so far away. I mean, look at this. That thing's a long, and I cropped this image. This is a huge image, and I cropped it to get it all in frame. And Granny, yeah, it works just fine on an iPhone too, doesn't it? Well, Phil Cox, how are you, my friend? So nice to see you here with Jessica and Kelsey Brown. That's wonderful. Don't send me any anomalies just yet. I still haven't caught up with Raymond and a bunch of other people who sent me stuff. I'm working like a dog trying to catch them all. But yeah, it definitely looks to be a structure, doesn't it? I'm going to zoom in one more time on that. Now, Alan, when I looked at this on Analyst's Notebook, it's also on Midnight Planets. And that's what that link is. It's to Midnight Planets. But when I looked at it, the images seem true in terms of not being reversed. That's not saying they're not. But this did appear to be a black and white positive to me. Well, Alan, I'm going to try that. I can't do it on air. I wish I could. I'm not that adept yet. But I'm going to give that a try and see what it looks like, because that's pretty interesting. Okay. And I'm back. The beauty is back on duty. But yeah, that's a real interesting point. Is that a negative image? Well, I don't know. Probably worthwhile to look at it inverted in any case, whether it is or not. So anyway, if you haven't left a thumbs up, and if you didn't absolutely hate what we've been doing so far, please leave a thumbs up. That's how they know that I'm actually alive. And by all means, if you haven't gone over and looked at Alan's channel, Mars, the Second Genesis, and there'll be a link in this week's video as well. Give him some love. Check it out. It's worth a trip over there. And Alan, I haven't looked at your video yet. I'm sorry. Working as hard as I can just to keep up with the basics. I promise I will look at it. Realistically, this weekend, when I'm up in Maine, delivering more glass studio material, I'll have some downtime with my laptop and I can catch up on all the videos and all the images. I hope. You know, then there are always those late breaking images that are fantastic and I just got to do them right now, you know. They're too good to pass up. Anyway, we're going to close out this evening with, maybe a little bit early, with Rami Bar Ilan and his Magic Anomalous Einball. This is a classic one that he found many years ago. And that is what many people believe to be a bone. Oh yeah, Jersey. I hated coming back from Maine. And gonna stay up there longer next year. You're welcome, Jersey. I'm very glad to have you eyes on with us and at the live hang as well. I appreciate it. You proud weirdo, you. That really does look like a bone, doesn't it? But I want to ask you, how many of you think this next one is a chicken bone? Dang, if that doesn't look like a chicken bone. Now see, that's amazing to me. And I have a bunch more Rami stuff, but not ready to pull up tonight. As a matter of fact, we'll We'll slide back to that other one. I like this one better than this one. It's just a lot more clear. Yeah, drumstick. I have another one that's going into next week's video of a full skeleton. And even to my jaded eyes, it appears to be a skeleton with a skull and a backbone and ribs and limbs. Yeah, and you were very observant, very, very observant there, Ricardo, and I neglected to mention it, so thank you for bringing it up, that there's that Aleph glyph on that stone. Hello? What's that doing there? And yes, that is a letter. And Don, this is quite close to the rover. It's like almost at its feet. So this is actually about the size of a chicken bone, which is why I said it. And that other bone too. That's right, almost at the feet of the rover. So anyway, it'll be a good video this week. There'll be a lot of stuff in there that some of you haven't seen. Star Trek logo, maybe. Maybe it is. We see that vector all the time, don't we? Not only in rocks, but on every one of not only NASA's mission patches, but on the Russian, the Chinese, the Indian. They all use the vector. There's some very strong symbolism, connected with that. Excuse me. So, we're going to take a quick run. Let's through some of the images and call it a night. This is one I like, which is that little settlement. And in the inset box is that bridge or viaduct, aqueduct. And Lee, you just finished eating some wings, buddy. Chicken on your mind and on your palate. Anyway, look inside that inset box, and here we go, blurry. Now, please tell me that's just a rock that eroded funny, along with all those walls and parallel lines and structures and all of that stuff. Let me go back to the far view again so you can kind of get that in perspective. That whole settlement is filled with buildings. Look at the roads. Look at the buildings. Look at the walls. And now, look at the little bridge that stops in the middle of nowhere. Boy, I'd just about give anything to have a close-up high-res image of that. Then here are a couple oddities that popped up on a hillside 3 or 4 miles away, 3 or 4 kilometers anyway. I have no idea what these are. They're big. They're really big. And they look kind of purposeful, don't they? Then here's another settlement that we found. Straight walls, square walls, an amphitheater of some kind. And as you look around that image, you're going to see a whole lot more things that I didn't mention. And here's another one. What do you see when you look in that image? Because I'm telling you, I see a ton of stuff. Just a ton of stuff. Too many to even start cataloging, to tell you the truth. And then here's another, what I think is a strip mine off on the side of the mountain near the summit. There's a lot of stuff there. Look at all the straight roads and paths, descending curves. Here's the colorized. The red is the main mining path with that curved switchback down on the end closest to us in red. And in the blue, what look like some large pipes and some block buildings. See what I mean? Then we're going to go back to the hillside condos. And man, that just looks like an apartment building, doesn't it? Well, I believe you, Alan. There is literally so much stuff in this pan that he did of Percy 128. I spent many hours going through it, and I had picked out 33 different anomalies that I sent to Alan just to show him what I'd found. And I panned that down, or culled that down to half of that. It's real hard to throw stuff away. It really is. But, you know, in the interests of content and brevity, you got to do that disciplined editing. Then another bunch of stuff on another hillside. And I particularly like, you know, we pointed out a bunch of stuff here. Pipes, buildings, blockhouses, outlets. But I really like that staircase right there. I think that's cool. And I also like this, whatever it is, I don't know. And then we had another settlement. Look at that. There's a whole, and this is a kind of a bird's eye view from a good distance away. We'll zoom in a little bit there. You're telling me those are natural rocks, right? I don't think so. And to the left of it is this. And now look on the, see that kind of hill or mountain in the center near the top? Look to the, down and to the left, and there's a thing. There's that thing. That almost looks like a flying craft of some kind. But it's more than likely it's a structure that's collapsed. Then we got our famous right angle road there. That's pretty cool. Nothing says intelligent agency like a road that turns at a right angle past some collapsed structures. Alan says, "Naught but rocks and sands, I write." I can't do a Scottish accent like he can. He's real good at it since he's a Scotsman. But I can hear him saying it when he types it out. Then we had Lanyi's buildings off there in the distance. And I had outlined that section there because there's more stuff that's buried under the sand and the dust, including that big rectangular cutout with the darker soil around it. You know, that's not natural stuff. I'm sorry. It really just is not. Let me take that box off of there so you can see it with your own good old plain eyeballs. Then we had Rami's two bones. A nice little chicken bone there. I can just imagine one of the guards up there at the ICC chowing down on some chicken or a local variant of that and tossing the bone. And of course there's that nice little aleph carved in the rock up above. Pretty cool. And thanks, Alan. You see snow inverted. Well, I'm going to do that. Then we have this classic bone that Rami presented years ago. And I was proud of that one. I'm not really bragging, but this is like black belt level 3D processing to do something like this. It's a lot of work, and I'm glad when it turns out in a reasonable way. A Christ Sydney Opera House. I like that. That's what that looked like, doesn't it, Renee? Are you in Aussie? Or are you over in Holland? Where are you, man? Okay. So we're back, and I want to thank you for hanging with me tonight. Very glad that you didn't mind seeing some of these images again in their completed state, not in their almost raw state like they were last week. And this next video coming up on Friday, I hope you take an opportunity to look at it if you have the time, and see the full spectrum of what Alan has done and what is represented in that massive panorama, Holland, thank you, Renee, that he did of Percy 128. And I know those take forever and a day to do, so I'll wait patiently until you have another one done. So I guess it's that time, isn't it? Bye, Ned. Time to knock it off. So this is your buddy Dave over at MarsX3D saying good night to all you proud weirdos. You know who you are. Be well.